kind of a day after video after the Whole Lawns network interview. Boy, I really hate that name. But anyway, I was kind of disappointed about the comments. I mean, they're just a bunch of snarky shit by a lot of phantasmagorical dickwads that don't have a fucking argument. You know, they all know something, but they all know it not through some logical process, but through their unicorn magic. You know, like somehow it's all built into the structure of the natural world. And I guess that's always worth commenting on. It's just this whole reverence for nature crap. It's just such a pop culture kind of meme. It's been bashed into everybody's head from the day they're born. And of course it is. I mean, it's the people who are investing in the DNA molecules plan who are the ones having the kids. And so of course they're part of that system of enthusiasm for getting on the life roller coaster and playing the game. But it's just that, it's a game. And again, I gave, you know, you give whatever points it's hard to be critical of people 2,000 years ago making a motherfucking mess like that, making mistakes like that. They say we're ignorant. But people now have all this information. We know so much about the world we live in, and the dynamics that are in control of it. And so there's really no excuse for this reverence, you know, for the natural process, because it really can be diagrammed so easily. I mean, it is organism eating organism. It is a bunch of parasites consuming and reproducing. I keep saying it over and over and over. And it's like it doesn't get into there. No one's making the counter argument. They just say, oh, that's only part of the equation. Well, I'm sorry. It's the whole equation. Anything that's been added on has only been added on because of it adds you know, a level of efficiency in doing that consuming and reproducing based on the environment something exists in. But you know, we look at all this crap and we say, ooh, pretty trees, ooh, pretty flowers, and that's just subjective crap. That's, you know, that's a woman's ass. I mean, it's, yeah, sure, it's going to be appealing if your psychology is constructed to make it appealing. That's all it's about. It's not an objective truth. It's a subjective mush. And but that's the world we live in. The default wins because people aren't. They're not skeptical enough, especially of the society that controls the maturation of the victims on the roller coaster. So as long as they have the right psychology, then it's game on. But we can do that with anything, can't we? We can tailor people's psychology to doing insane things. There's people right now who are going to fry up some kittens for dessert for dinner. They're going to commit something ludicrously preposterous from my sensibilities. But from their sensibilities, it makes sense. Somehow they can rationalize it, justify it, explain it, see purpose in it. I don't know how to even phrase it. It's so preposterous. But anyway, but somebody could look at, you know, our culture and make the same kind of evaluations. We're consuming ourselves, essentially. We enslave each other. We treat other people like shit. We treat animals like shit. You know, it's just because the we that is popular, the majority of people, have a sensibility tailored to the shit that we're living in. And that's why they vote for it. And that's why it exists. Wouldn't exist if they really gave a shit. So, yeah, but it all ultimately comes down to, you know, how much thought people give things and what tools they're using to do the thinking. because we're quite capable of stepping beyond our subjective preferences, recognizing the simple truth that the fact that I like a certain color doesn't really mean much. And if we're going to be evaluating colors, we have to do it by some other standard than a personal preference. And it's not hard to make that leap. But it really is a necessary step. I mean, human beings, if they think, I don't think they can avoid the truth. But, you know, if they're thinking with what they feel, and there's so many people that do that, they feel the truth. They don't think the truth. They rub up against things to decide what they are, instead of contemplating them and understanding what they're made out of and the dynamics. And that's just a fatal flaw in, ooh, there's wind today, in how they're approaching the process of doing this philosophizing thing. And, you know, nobody's opinion is very qualified. Even people with degrees are idiots often. Because the degree doesn't say he spent enough time to get it right, or he started off with a clean enough slate, you know, with the capacity to step beyond his own prejudices and what he wanted to confirm, or find some, I don't know, some verbiage to defend, and was actually after the truth. I mean, I fell on a lot of it accidentally, so I have to concede that I had an advantage, because I got onto the roller coaster skeptical of the ride. I wasn't a willing volunteer, let's say. I wasn't sitting in great anticipation saying, oh, I can't wait to play the life game. So yeah, that gives me an advantage. So, but I still would make the argument that intelligence, if you think about things and you're honest with yourself, that you really can't avoid it. It'll scream the truth out at you. It'll nag you with it anyway. And you'll have to resolve those conflicts. You can't just pretend they don't exist. So when there's a conflict between the mush of, you know, what keeps you in the game and the philosophy of figuring out whether there's a reasonable game to be played, especially, you know, when it is all arbitrary in terms of how we formulate the game, the winners and the losers. I mean, the definition of our culture has been, whoa, a big aeroplane, meaning it's flying low, making noise on me. It's kind of irritating. God, I feel like shit. I'm having a bad day. I'm dying right now. Maybe I will just walk and carrying this camera, just keel over. Yuck. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so it's the dominant culture thing. I mean, the shape of our perceptions has been so controlled by stupid events in history. You know, Great Tex even made some dopey comment on the video, one of the interview videos, you know, implying that somehow I think I have control over other people, but don't concede how I've been controlled. That's such a crock of shit. Certainly little, you know, happy and sad accidents all over the place in my life. My destiny would have turned numerous events not happening. So I'm not conceding that. I'm just pointing out clearly that go find the culture that owned me. I'm not the one doing the fable thing. That's your department, Great Tex. You're the happily ever after fucktard. You're the guy who thinks somehow it's all going to work out, and that somehow we're playing a game that's worth playing. Where'd you get that knowledge from? what facts did you put together to build it? As I think you didn't put any facts together. You just put together the default, like most human beings, that, well, my mommy and daddy thought it was a good idea that I exist, so I guess that I must be a good idea. And that we need more people existing and doing this stupid game over and over again. So you explain the logic that gets you to the conclusion that the reproducing DNA molecule knows what the fuck it's doing. Why don't you explain how there's a method to its madness, moron. So anyway, yeah, good ending. All right, so